Welcome back to the Anything Goes with Jackson Neill podcast here on Wednesday, November 7th, 2018. This is on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, and YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, go over to YouTube because for this interview, I filmed it on location with my guest, Marc E. Bassy. Really awesome dude. I caught up with him when he came here to Philadelphia to play at Union Transfer as part of a tour with Kyle and Toby Lou. Interview with Toby Lou coming out soon as well. But I caught up with Marc to talk about his latest project, Postmodern Depression. So if you're not on YouTube, I'd recommend going over and checking that out. Also, quick announcement. This podcast is now sponsored. Anything Goes with Jackson Neill's finally got a sponsor, and it is Believe the Hype, a brand new company selling the latest in sneakers. They get the best drops, and they sell them right back to you guys. So go visit their eBay store, visit their Twitter and Instagram at Believe Hype 2018. All the links are down in the description. They have in stock the new Air Jordan 1 PSGs. They're really, really nice. I like them myself. I might have to go get myself a pair, but go check out Believe the Hype, and all those links down in the description. Now, without further ado, let's head over to my interview with Marc E. Bassy discussing Postmodern Depression. So, how's this tour going?
It's going well. Really well.
What's your favorite city been so far?
I wouldn't really say I have like a favorite city, but I always say like one in particular that really sticks out when we play there live is Minneapolis.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. What, do you have like friends there, family, anything?
It's just like a dope music city.
Gotcha.
People love live concerts there. Like the venue that we played is like the house that Prince built. It's called First Ave.
Oh, really?
So it's just kind of has like a lot of dope music history and good stuff.
So I want to go to like your latest EP, Postmodern Depression. What was it like making that?
We started making it in January. It was a lot of fun, and I don't know, we just been getting more into our craft, I think, and making better and better sounding music. So it's nice to always try and outdo yourself and just continue to grow. And this is, where we've grown to.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought the name was really interesting. It's really stuck out to me, especially like your other projects, really colorful artwork, all that stuff.
Yeah.
This one's a little more black and white. Why'd you go with that?
I don't know, we've always wanted to try to rein in our imaging. It's usually like all over the place. So black and white is just like a strong classic aesthetic, and it kind of fits our music and our whole vibe. So that's kind of why.
Gotcha. And if you could like describe the project in any way, how would you, what would, in terms of like the sound of it?
I would describe it as just like, it's kind of just like modern pop music. It's sort of an amalgamation of soul, pop, hip hop. It kind of branches out a lot, but at the end, it's kind of rooted in hip hop music, but then with like the musicality of like straight ahead R&B pop music.
Yeah, I got that feeling. That it was kind of like a continuation, I feel like, of your sound as well.
Yeah.
Going into this project.
Mm-hmm.
So, there was about a year in between Gossip Columns and the release of this. What was it like in that time in between?
Well, we did a tour in March. That was awesome. Our first like headline tour. That was really cool. We toured with Ty Dolla $ign, one of our favorite artists. And then we really were just busy like making music. For us to make, even just to get 5 songs out, we made like 50 or 100 or a lot of music. There's a lot of tape on the cutting room floor, as they say. So it's just, it's a process. Like we work every day making songs, writing, practicing. So it's fun when it finally comes out, because it's like we put a lot of energy into it. So when it finally pushes forward and it's released, it feels good.
And I feel like you're one of those artists where I've heard in interviews and I've seen, like, just heard in your music, that a lot of your inspiration comes from living on tour and all the good and the bad that comes with it. So for some artists, I feel like maybe when they're on tour, it'll be difficult to make some music. Is it like that for you, or is it kind of like on tours where you're in your creative zone?
It's hard. No, like it's hard to finish music on the road because you don't have like everything that you have back home. Like technically, it's more difficult. You stay up later, you drink more. Like it's hard to complete things, but the way that we create, like Count gets busy. This is Count, that's my partner. You can chime in here if you like. You know, he stays busy like making beats and producing and editing videos. Like we just watched a video right now that I just got in trouble for.
I got you in trouble.
I was kissing a girl. My girlfriend just snuck over to watch it, and I was like, I hope the kissing part is not on here.
Yeah.
How did Bella know?
Girls always know. They got the spidey sense.
Oh, exactly, they do, yeah.
Let me see. Let's see if I'm getting reamed yet. Pardon me.
No problem.
This is more real though. This is what's really going on tour right now.
Gotcha.
Press my line to get it done. Let's count out. We're gonna retap it. By pressing my line. So, anyways, I kind of do both. Like, I don't stop working. On the road. Some people can't do it. Kyle doesn't have a like studio on tour. Like a lot of people, they're not into that. Like once they're touring, they're just touring. But I need to, you know, record music and get ideas down all the time, no matter what. So
yeah, you just mentioned Kyle. You also, you know, you're touring with him also.
Yeah.
You know, Toby Lou, and you mentioned being with Ty Dolla $ign. What's it like to be around different artists on your tours? And kind of, do you get stuff from them? Ways of working, ways of just being creative? Like, what do you get from that?
yeah, I mean, I generally like. I always like to receive some type of drip. With Ty, like this, I learned a lot being around Ty, because he's so good at everything he does. Like I always tell this story, but when I first went on Ty's bus, like we went to Guitar Center immediately after that to like redo our studio on our bus, because his shit was so on point. The speakers, the sub, just everything. He had the key, the E-bass like set up, the MPC. It was just like, fuck, you could do anything on this bus that you could do in a real studio. Very professional, so we kind of replicated that. And there's just a certain like diligence that you have to be successful on tour. You know, you have to like, gotta make sure you warm up. It's just like little things that if you're on point about them, it's easy to unravel on tour, because like you party a lot, drink a lot, do a lot of bullshit, and then it kind of like after a month goes by, you just like lost at sea, and it's easy to just like, your laundry's not done, just give up everything. But if you stay on point, you can get a lot done, and it's actually really cool. So Ty was like that. I try to pick that up from him. G-Eazy, you know, he's a big tour god. He's really good at that too. Like his tours always stay really on point, so it's cool. You know, I learned from all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, one thing in there you mentioned, and I've heard you say this before, is that you find balance maybe in ways that like other people wouldn't, in terms of all the partying and everything. You kind of strike your own balance.
Yeah.
So it's about finding that individually for each person kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, you have to sleep till like 3 p.m. too. That helps.
That's the
That helps balance.
So you mentioned G-Eazy right there. You made a lot of songs with him, including on this Postmodern Depression.
Yeah.
What's it like to have someone like that where you can just have that kind of collaborative energy?
It's good. I forget like how famous and like how big he is sometimes, because he's a really down to earth dude. Yeah, and so like I don't know. I don't think about it. Like I've been blessed. I work with incredible people. My producers are incredible. You know, my collaborators. So I just kind of, I don't really think about it too much, but I got a good group, and I want to keep making music with them.
Another thing about this project that I heard you say is that it's about you battling with the culture. What did you mean by that? Because I thought that comment was kind of interesting.
Well, a lot of things that I spend time caring about, you know, the way that the culture like receives music is like they don't really care about it in a certain way. You know, like rappers nowadays, like they don't really give a shit how they're judged, because the way that it's not really their fault, but the way that you consume music now, it's not like you have a CD, 10 songs to last fucking 2 years, and everyone's gonna be judging you off this body of work you made. Like, that's why Kendrick Lamar's albums are so good, because he gives you an album, and that he doesn't do anything else besides that. You don't see him on Instagram doing hella much. You don't see him in... It's just like he gives you an album, and then that represents him and his people for the next 2 years.
Exactly.
And so when you do that, that's like what I do. You know, I don't put out music all the time. So like when I put something out, that's all I got. That's all you're gonna get from me. I'm not gonna like show my ass on Instagram, you know what I mean? Or like do a bunch of wild shit. I'm not gonna drop like 20 songs, you know, every 2 weeks that are just, you know, maybe I should. I could, you know what I mean? I easily could. Like, so I'm battling, like I want to be part of modern culture. I'm in it, but at the same time, you know, I'm a millennial. I'm not like a Gen Y-er or whatever, you know. I was born in the 80s, you know, so it's like, it's this push and pull that I have with the youth, like, and with music in general, because like, it's impossible to care about music now. If you're in high school, it's impossible to care about music as much as we did when I was in high school. Cause like I just had 10 CDs. I had to like spend $15 to buy a CD. You know what I mean? I had to like go somewhere to get it, and then I had to keep it. And then when I put it in my car, that was all you could listen to. So like I would listen to one album all fucking summer, and it was like, holy shit. Now like I know every kick drum, every snare hit, every lyric, every melody, every harmony on the whole thing, because I listen to it so much. And nowadays it's not possible to do that, because artists, we put out music so much, the turnover is so much quicker. You know, songs are hot for a quick second, and then whole new things coming in, and that's not better or worse. Like, I never judge, but it just is.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the nail on the head right there. It's like, I kind of remember that time before streaming where it was like you had your money. It was like, oh, you go on. For me, it was like, oh, I'm a little young. I'm only in college right now. But you go on iTunes.
You have to buy it.
You buy that album. And it's like, oh, I got this album. Now I'm going to, like, I remember buying one of Outkast's albums.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I got my paycheck. I bought that album. And, like, I just had that going around and around and around, just listening to it. But, like, now with streaming, there's like 10 albums that drop every Friday. Yeah,
every Friday.
And it's like,
that's not bad. I'm really not, like, it's not a judgment thing, but that's when I make music, that's what I'm reflecting on. It's like where we're at, the culture that we live in. And it's just a fact that the wave comes and goes way faster now than it used to. Some will be hot for a quick second, then the next thing, then the next thing. And that's interesting, right? It just is what it is. Like, I've been here making music, you know, all my 20s, like, getting by. Sometimes, you know, like, I'm probably doing the best now I ever done, really, like, money-wise or whatever. Not that matters, but... So, I enjoy it, and I like where I'm at in culture, because I can, like, reflect on it a little more than being fully smack dab in the middle of it. Like, if I was 18 years old right now, it's crazy. Like, It's a crazy time for people. There's so much information available all the time that you have to deal with all the time. I just posted this shit on my Instagram last night. It was like a clip from the Bill Maher show, and it was this like psychologist talking about how high the suicide rate is and depression rate is for like young people. It's way higher, you know, than it was when I was 18, and it's because like people don't go outside. You know? Yeah. And that's postmodern depression. Where it really comes from is like how everyone is like so connected on their phone but so alone and depressed, really, because they don't get to fucking run around and like get in fist fights and smoke blunts and
it's about how many followers you have.
Yeah, like that used to be all we had, like when I was a little kid or whatever. So I mean, I'm not trying to be like the old dude or something. Like, I'm in this shit too. I sit on Instagram all fucking day. Like, I know what it's like. I never grew up. So it is like, I am essentially like, I act more like I'm fucking 18 years old than my real age, you know? Yeah. But it's a lot there, man. It's just a lot. And if you're a musician nowadays, it's like, you see fucking someone blowing up who doesn't care about what they're doing. They're just blowing up because whatever, because they're a gangster, because they're a gangbanger, or like maybe they blew up because they fucking were willing to do whatever the fuck to blow up. You know what I mean? Like on Instagram, like they just purely cared about being popular on Instagram, and they freaked that into, you know, having a hit song or whatever. Like, all that shit's all good, but it's also what contributes to postmodern depression. It's just like, no one knows what to really care about anymore. No one knows what's gonna last. You know, back in the day, like when I was in middle school, like you couldn't wear a Nirvana t-shirt and a Tupac t-shirt. You had to like choose. You know, you had to know every song of whatever artist you represented. You had to like really be into that, or someone would like check you all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like, oh, I like this Megadeth t-shirt because it looks cool. It was like, nah, bro, you gotta take that shit off or you're gonna get beat up.
Yeah,
it was
like you gotta be into
yeah,
that
you had
band
to
or into
really,
that artist.
really be into it. And when I was little, I was part of that, and now I'm part of this. So like, it's been a weird change, you know, and it just is, bro. It's crazy. Like, I literally, my age group, you know, 28 to like 32, whatever and up, like we really went through like, we didn't have cell phones, and then
Now it's just
now
all
like
this.
my, you know, like my 10-year-old fucking cousin, she got a, you know, so it's just like, that's where the title came from, and that's what the music is reflecting on now. It's just the change that we've been going through as Americans, and it shows too, because now we're so divided as Americans, so divided, and the reason is because whatever you believe, you can go on your phone and that belief will be reinforced over and over and over and over again. Whatever Instagram you're on, whatever cable news channel you watch, you know, you put yourself into an echo chamber of what you think, and then it just gets relayed back to you over and over and over again. And that's not how it was in the real world, because in the real world you have to go outside, you have to deal with people on both sides and talk to people, and then you realize, oh, we're not really that different. Just because you voted for Donald Trump and I wanted Hillary Clinton, like, we might be exactly the same. We just have a different understanding about 3 or 4 things. And then, but when you live in your phone, it's like, fuck. It takes that little feeling of distance you have from somebody, and then they go over there on their phone, and you go over into this virtual world, and it's like, then there's this huge chasm between you, and that's not even real. So that's another thing I'm battling with. You know, like, I want to be a voice of unity and of, you know, togetherness, and a lot of shit right now is about division, and like everyone wants to beef, you know what I mean? Everyone wants to be like, that's how clout chasing, you know what I mean? What is that really? That's like just trying to fucking pretend like, oh, fuck this guy or fuck that guy, and I hope academics post this, you know, and like, come on, that's the weakest shit in the world. Like literally you're gonna try to just disparage someone or pretend like you're funking with somebody just to get popping. Like, that's fucking crazy. It's like, pretty much there's no dignity in that. So that's all postmodern depression. Every time I talk about it, I just end up in a tangent.
No problem, yeah.
But
I think I can really kind of like get
You know
where
what I'm
you're going
saying?
with this project, yeah.
yeah.
So
And the full length, like, this is only the EP. I just put out the hitters right now, like the kind of more pop leaning songs, but the full album comes out in February, and that's gonna be it'll be way more, it'll dig way deeper into what all that shit's about.
Gotcha, yeah. Another thing that I wanted to touch on was some stuff about, you've said how much the environment and just where you are affects you, and even saying that, going as far as saying you wanted to buy an airplane so you could go anywhere you wanted to make music.
Yeah.
Just can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, what do you feel like the environment does to you as a person making music?
Well, music is completely is an art that its context means everything, even if you don't know it. You know, if you listen to music that comes from wherever it comes from, like, literally the environment dictates the sound a lot. So like, if you listen to African music, it's based in like percussion, you know, and the reason is because it was made on like a open plain, you know, in a fucking huge, expansive, vast plain, and it was like, how are we gonna make music that's loud, that fucking can go from here to way over there? Like, what's the best way? It's like smacking on a drum, you know.
Yeah.
And that's like the best rhythms, the best fucking drum loops, all that shit. It's like based in African rhythms. And then you have like over in Europe, it's like you're in a cathedral. You can't play a polyrhythm with 9 drums in a cathedral because it's made to reverberate and it'll bounce everywhere and it'll just sound cacophonous and gross, and so you can't do that there. So they make an organ. You know, it becomes more about harmony and melody because that's everything has to blend together in that way. So it's like even if you just think of that, and then there's also like the implications of wherever you're from, like if you're fucking by a beach and you know it's like they have beach music. If you're in the fucking mountains in Mississippi, then you got the, you know, or the Delta or whatever, you have the blues. You know, like it's just wherever you're from dictates your music. So to me, when I travel places, I like to think like right now we're in Philadelphia, like Philly. There's fucking Philly soul, you know what I mean, which is like some of the dopest music, the Delphonics, and I mean there's a million of them, but I don't know. So I like going somewhere and thinking about the lineage and like what was created here. Like you got battle rap in Philadelphia, was like the craziest thing ever, and I used to see Meek Mill when he was like 13 on YouTube battle rapping and Reed Dollars and all those cats. And then like what's bruh's name, like the, it's like a really famous OG Philly dude. Anyways, you had like Freeway. All like Philly rap was like hardcore, and then it produced Meek Mill, and like he's the hardest, you know, one of the hardest rappers modern day, because it's like he came from Philly, and that's the music that is fostered here and that people listen to and people love. Philly's a hard place. Not to say that you can't be like soft here too or whatever. Like they probably got everything. They got everything everywhere. But when I go, the reason I get inspired is because I think about like what they make here, and then it kind of like it just oozes into it, and you can feel it. It's like there's bricks everywhere. It's fucking cold out. It's Philly, you know. It ain't fucking Malibu.
There's no beaches here.
Yeah,
it's snowing. You think about underdogs like Rocky and his Eagles.
Exactly.
All that. It's like
it's all Philly. Exactly. So like the same way that like Sylvester Stallone's not from Philadelphia, but Rocky had to, or is he? I don't think so.
I don't think so, but he's a god here.
But Rocky had to be from Philadelphia because it was like it's an underdog story, and that's the whole shit. Like the movie with the guy who joins the Eagles in like the 70s. Yeah, like it's all underdog stories, all that. So like if I stayed in Philly, and also Philly has some of the dopest musicians in the world, or they're all from Philly. Like there was a whole neo soul movement, like the Roots are from here, all that shit too, which like spawned this whole music, like live music revolution that still exists today. So if I stayed here for a month, you know, I would have like a dope soulful kind of neo soul R&B album with the best musical performances I could find. And so everywhere you go, it has that. You know, if you go to New York, then it's the birthplace of hip hop. If you go to Nashville and you're on fucking, you know, running around the studios down there, you're gonna really suck up some country shit. So yeah, wherever I go, I think about that. I embed myself in the culture musically, and I just kind of get lost in it.
All right. So just want to kind of leave it off, like mention you have that album coming out in February. You have the rest of this tour to finish up.
Mm-hmm.
How are you just feeling right now, like just going forward?
I feel pretty good right now. Like I'm excited to just kind of keep going and keep getting better, and you know, I think I've kind of been my own worst enemy in my music career in a lot of ways. I make things really difficult for myself, and I'm excited to kind of make things a little easier and just be myself more and more. I think that's really important. And when I go on tour, like the people who I find, like I have real fans all over the world, you know, and they love my music because it's mine and it's like what I do, not because I'm trying to be like somebody else. And sometimes when you're not on tour for too long, you forget that. Like these people come to hear my songs, and the songs they like the most are usually the ones that are most like me, you know. And so I appreciate that, and that's like something I get from being on tour. You know, without that, it would be hard for me to navigate. So it's good. It's a good reminder. Like keep being yourself, keep doing you, and more good things will come.
Exactly. And I mean, if I could say anything, I mean, it would be that you've done such a good job of, through your projects, kind of building your own person, your own musical artist.
Yeah.
That isn't just overnight.
Yeah, exactly.
It's built through multiple projects, and that builds a fan base. So I think you've hit that right on the nail on the head.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, so thank you so much for doing this.
Anytime, man. Definitely.
Again, a big thank you to Marc for coming onto the podcast. Go check out Postmodern Depression. I still think he has some couple tour dates left. Go down the link in the description. I'll have the rest of his tour dates on there as well because he's a really awesome guy to see live and to check out his music. That will wrap it up for this edition of the Anything Goes with Jackson Neill podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, subscribe to your favorite platforms, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube. Doing more of these in-person interviews, so I'd recommend going over there to YouTube and giving the video components a check out as well. Also, visit our sponsor, Believe the Hype, selling the latest sneakers. They get all those best drops and sell them straight to you guys. They have right now in stock the new Air Jordan 1 PSGs, so go visit the links down in the description to their store to purchase those. They have size 11 and 11.5 available, I think, off the top of my head, if I'm correct, as well as a couple other shoes right now and some other ones coming up soon. Also, follow them on Instagram and Twitter at BelieveHype2018. Those links are down in the description, like I mentioned. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, I'm now posting, interview clips, more podcasts over there. Check me out at JacksonNeill20. Links down there as well. So check those links out as well. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you all next time.